If you're a hay fever sufferer and enjoy getting out in the summertime, you'll know the feeling only too well. Uncontrollable sneezing, red, itchy eyes, non-stop runny nose, and sensitivity to light. Want to know what two academics are now saying about this hay fever hack? I'm going to share with you what I have learned about the science behind one age-old hay fever treatment. You can check this out today. I will also give you valuable hints and tips learned over a lifetime so you can make the most of this new knowledge today. Hay fever has been ruining my summer times until I discovered this hack. And with the help of a couple of academics, we're going to look at the science of honey as a hay fever treatment, even though it's sometimes called a myth. Maybe you eat honey and still have hay fever. What breaking news is there here? Well, there's more to it. We'll show you why specific types of honey can help and how to handle your honey. Then I'll take you on a brief search for the right kind of honey where I am currently staying and give you some ideas where you can find it wherever in the world that you are, especially while you're travelling. Maybe like me, hay fever has plagued you for years and prevented you from taking part in outdoors pursuits or being able to join in family pursuits. I particularly remember in my teenage years going to a summer camp in the mountains of Scotland and not being able to take part in all the activities because, unknown to me until that time, I was very allergic to pine tree pollen. Well, last year I was able to get back up to the Scottish mountains. I camped for several days on the banks of Loch Lomond in July and never a tickle of hay fever. But why not just take over-the-counter meds? Well, I'd done that all my life and hated the side effects. A quick Google will remind you what you already know. How many of these side effects do you recognise? Is it worth it? I knew I no longer wanted to feel drowsy like I was half asleep all the time, or that feeling of disassociation that I was in a parallel universe and not really present all summer. But there was light at the end of the tunnel for me. Imagine my delight when I discovered that honey could be the answer. So I've been taking local honey in Spain for years now, and I really felt the benefit. There's more to this. I had been having honey all my life, and maybe you have too, but there's new wisdom. I can share some interesting research with you now that already seems to corroborate the anecdotal evidence of people like me who find that honey has helped them. I'd like to introduce you to two scientists from Nottingham, Trent University in the UK. Samuel J. White, a senior lecturer in genetic immunology, and Philippe B. Wilson, professor of One Health, and what they have said in a piece published recently in The Conversation. It's an independent source of news and analysis and informed comment written by academic experts. You will learn everything you need to know about how honey and some other important foods can support your body during the hay fever season, letting you enjoy summertime like never before. Honey has a long history as a revered natural remedy across many cultures. Ancient civilizations recognized its therapeutic potential, employing it for various medicinal purposes. The ancient Egyptians, Assyrians, Chinese, Greeks, and Romans, for instance, used it to heal wounds, and many cultures today continue to use it as a remedy for sore throats and coughs. And many people also assert that honey can alleviate hay fever symptoms. Advocates of this method claim honey can help thanks to its purported anti-inflammatory and anti-allergic properties, although empirical evidence for this is lacking. But what does science actually say about this age-old remedy? Recent investigations into honey's potential for alleviating hay fever symptoms have yielded intriguing findings that certainly warrant further exploration. One fascinating aspect being investigated is honey's ability to act as a form of immunotherapy, a treatment strategy that aims to modify the immune system's response to allergens. Immunotherapy involves exposing the immune system to gradually increasing doses of allergens, such as pollen, in a controlled manner. This exposure helps desensitize the immune system over time, reducing its hypersensitivity and lessening allergic reactions. For instance, one study found that people who consumed local honey daily for 4 weeks alongside an allergy tablet had significant improvements in their hay fever symptoms compared to those who only took an allergy tablet. Honey's anti-inflammatory properties are of considerable interest when it comes to hay fever. Honey contains various bioactive compounds, including flavonoids and phenolic acids, which exhibit anti-inflammatory effects. These compounds work by preventing inflammation in the body, which may help reduce many of the symptoms caused by an allergic reaction, such as a stuffy or runny nose. Honey also boasts a rich array of antioxidants, such as polyphenols. These antioxidants scavenge harmful free radicals, unstable molecules that may damage cells and trigger inflammation. By neutralizing free radicals, honey may help protect cells and tissues from damage, reducing allergic inflammation and allergy symptoms. Honey also has prebiotic characteristics, which may further explain their potential in managing hay fever symptoms. Prebiotics are substances that promote the growth and activity of beneficial gut bacteria, enhancing gut health. Emerging evidence suggests that honey's prebiotic properties may change the composition and function of the gut microbiota. A healthy gut microbiota is essential for maintaining a balanced immune system and preventing aberrant immune responses, including allergic reactions. By promoting the growth of beneficial gut bacteria and bolstering gut function, honey may indirectly influence how severely we react to seasonal pollen. Now, what to consider? Not all honey is created equal. Where it's sourced and how it's processed may affect its therapeutic potential. Raw honey, which undergoes minimal processing and retains more of its natural compounds, is often favoured for its potential health benefits. Honey's composition can also vary depending on the types of plants visited by the bees. Monofloral honey, derived primarily from the nectar of a single plant species, may contain specific compounds that offer therapeutic advantages over polyfloral varieties, derived from multiple plant species. If you're thinking about using honey to help with your hay fever symptoms, it's important to take into account certain practical considerations and exercise caution. Research recommends consuming 1 gram of honey per kilogram of body weight each day in order to have any effect. For a person weighing 80 kilograms, this would translate into 4 tablespoons of honey daily. Studies also recommend taking honey before and throughout hay fever season in order to have the most benefit on symptoms. It's important to note that honey may not be suitable for everyone. Children under the age of 1 should not consume honey due to the risk of botulism, a rare but serious illness. People with severe hay fever or asthma should speak with their GP before using honey, as allergic reactions to bee products can be severe. While honey shows promise in managing hay fever symptoms, it should complement rather than replace conventional therapies prescribed by your doctor, since it may not work equally well for everyone. If you're experiencing severe hay fever symptoms, it's unlikely that honey will provide sufficient relief. Next, I'd like to give you a few ideas about where to find pure local honey and mention a very few of the many types of honey that can be found around the world. And as we go, I'll drop in a few more hints and tips about how to handle your honey. But not before we tell Professor Samuel White and Philippe Wilson how grateful we are for the work that they have done towards increasing our understanding of the health benefits of honey. I can tell you that I seek out a supplier of local honey wherever I travel, not least to avoid any hay fever attacks from pollen. I found you meet good people too that way. As I understand it, the best honey you can get for your hay fever is raw or unprocessed honey, made by bees that have visited the same species of plants that grow locally to you or in the area where you are staying. That was not hard when I was staying on my daughter's farm in North Carolina. After inheriting a hive from a close family member, she studied a 3.5-month course on beekeeping. She restored the original hive and built a second one. The end of her course found her taking delivery of 2 swarms of bees. The first hives have produced 2 new swarms. Here, a swarm of bees is following a young queen bee into one of the new hives, so their numbers are increasing. Now I'm in Scotland again, after exploring my roots in the north, and more about that another time. Here I am in the middle of the city of Edinburgh during the festival. I didn't find local honey on the supermarket shelves, so I searched high and low. The first place I inquired was a lovely traditional pharmacy in Bruntsfield. The pharmacist there shook his head but suggested I try a community greengrocer Dig Inn just down the road on Bruntsfield Place. Sure enough, they stock Midlothian honey. The staff there were very friendly, and I contacted the beekeeper herself. They have their apiary just 12 miles out of the city. After Googling, I retraced my steps to Edinburgh city centre. Not far off the high street, I found I.J. Mellis down in Victoria Street. Purveyors of fine farmhouse and artesian cheese for over 30 years, who are at number 30 Victoria Street. The shop is well worth a visit as they also have wonderful cheeses. The brother of the owner has bees, and the staff there tell me they always have good stocks. They also have Scottish heather comb honey, traditionally gathered using artisan methods since 1945. That comes from the Highlands of Perthshire to the north of Edinburgh from Heather Hills Farm. Comb honey is raw, unprocessed. It has just been cut from the hive in its natural state, packed and sent to the shop, and is ready to eat. But the best stockist was yet to come. When I was on my way to an Edinburgh Festival of the Sacred Arts event, I noticed the Hanover Health Foods shop right next to the bus stop on Hanover Street, just up the hill from Princes Street. John, the owner, is very proud of his shop, which his research tells him is the oldest health food shop in the world. The shop itself dates back to 1880 and became Edinburgh's first health food shop in 1904.
I'm John. This is in Hanover Health Foods. We have a good range of raw honey, some Scottish, some dubious because it's cross-border, basically from the borderlands around Berwick. So starting with that, this is Chainbridge honey made by Willie Robson and his family, who've been beekeepers for at least 60 years. It's just good, honest honey with as little intervention and heat as possible. So we've got the Tweedside honey with heather. Sadly, at this time of year, because most heather honey comes off the hills in September, we're a little bit low on heather honey. We also have comb honey, which is obviously just cut but with a knife from the hive, so that's extremely low processed. And that has other things like cappings and propolis, so basically the full benefit of the honey. We also have the Edinburgh Honey Company. Although it's based in Edinburgh, the people who founded it, Marta, and got his first name, they're from Poland, where their family has been making honey since about the Second World War. So we've got a really nice mix of Polish honeys, like buckwheat honey, which is extremely malty. Not a great favourite of mine, but it is with some people. Polish forest honey, again all raw. And in the Scottish honey, you have their heather honey, and most of their hives for the heather honey are in the Gleneagles estate, which will be known to golfers and extremely rich people around the world, just on the edge of Perthshire. And the Scottish blossom honey, which is all from fields within about 12-15 miles of Edinburgh. So this is our most local honey, obviously popular in the run-up to the hay fever season. They do some Scottish blends, like the hot toddy honey, which is rapeseed honey mixed with Scottish whisky. Lastly, we also have some liquid honeys from Iona. We have acacia, and we have tropical forest honey, and the Equal Exchange Fair Trade honey. So this is our raw honey, all of it's raw.
These examples of where I found my honey supplies while in Edinburgh, in local community greengrocers like farm shops and health food shops, as well as specialty food shops, cheese shops, and the butchers that I didn't illustrate, may give you some idea where to look for health-giving honey wherever you are. In fact, if you are a world traveller and heading west from the US, your first honey stop might be Hawaii. Look for the gourmet lehua honey. The bees visit the scarlet flowers of the native ohia tree. In Australia, the many species of eucalyptus tree provide a wide range of honeys. Even though they do not flower every year, they can serve up significant quantities of nectar for visiting bees when they do. The neem tree's white flowers provide a honey considered important for Indian Ayurvedic medicine. They say it has a licorice flavour. If you go mountaineering in the Himalayas, don't worry about hay fever, because bees there have been busy producing honey from the flowers of the balsam plant. You may see its pink flowers where it grows along the riverbanks. Bees in the Middle East visit the cedar tree, also known as Christ's thorn jujube. It's an evergreen tree native to the Levant, East Africa and Mesopotamia. As the tree grows wild, semi-nomadic beekeepers travel to the ancient forests to tend the hives during the harvest season. The honey is highly valued by the population for its medicinal properties. On the beautiful and biodiverse Cape of South Africa, a multifloral honey is produced from the nectar of the plants found in the Karoo semi-desert landscape, sometimes called fynbos honey. The professors mentioned the ancient Greeks and Romans. Well, thousands of years later, the bees on the Greek mountainside are still producing honey from the nectar of a mixture of fragrant herbs. It is delightfully runny, perfect for drizzling over thick Greek yogurt. It's the perfect way to take honey, in my opinion. Be mindful not to heat honey. Pure raw honey is carefully harvested at an ambient temperature. Be mindful of this when it arrives in your home. And what about the ancient Romans? Well, the chestnut tree provides modern-day Italian bees with nectar full of minerals, still used for health purposes today. Some regard it as the best honey in the world. So now we leave Europe. It's only a hop and a skip over the Atlantic to the US. We find my daughter's bees there, who love the nectar from the tulip poplar, also known as the tupelo or black gum tree. Hungry bees will range as far as 5 miles to find it, if they have no other closer source of nectar. I hope that while heeding the scientist's responsible attitude, you may start to increase your intake of pure unprocessed honey. It's better still when we can cut down or cut out other types of sugar in our diet which are not so beneficial to health. Then I hope you will find you develop a happy gut and a healthy biome, a greater immunity, and your allergies may become a thing of the past too, and set out on new adventures enjoying local honey every day as you travel. So now you know the rest of the story. But this is only the first of a series of mini documentaries I have planned for you. Click and subscribe so you don't miss the next one.